Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, some Black Jewel protesters made their way from the railroad tracks to Charleston, West Virginia today, trying to learn more about their bankrupt employer, who they say owes employees millions in back pay. A federal bankruptcy court hearing is still underway, where a judge will decide whether to approve the sale of Black Jewel's assets. WYMT's Connor James is live in Charleston with the latest. Connor?
Steve, there's a lot of information to get through today, so I'm just going to try to break it down hour by hour what happened. What first kind of happened was people in the court addressed those initial 100 train cars filled up with coal at the tracks right now at the Cloverlook number 3 mine in Cumberland. It's roughly $1 million sitting in those cars. Now, the Department of Labor, they filed an emergency motion claiming that that coal couldn't be moved because those miners hadn't been paid. They cited the Fair Labor Standards Act. Then they talked about that for a little and then switched gears to the approval of selling a handful of other mines and assets here in the East. Now, just because the court approved it, it still means they still need a review and proper documentation. So here are those companies in the mines that we know they bought. So Coking Coal LLC got the Party Mine. That mine is in Wise County, Virginia. It's been idle from about 2016. Going on to Tie Fort Coal Company, they'll get the LM6 mine, and Mark Energy LLC got the LM8 mine. Dean McAfee Lenders and John Deere purchases also went through. Information on those purchases is on our website, WYMT.com. But the main thing is we still haven't reached an answer about the fate of the Black Mountain and Lone Mountain mines.
It's been extremely frustrating knowing, we have no idea really what's going on. And but luckily our local government has made a really big difference in that. And we're just taking it day by day. We're all just standing together, unifying, and trying to represent, each other well and represent our county well. And hopefully we'll get a good outcome and the judge will have favor on us.
Now, Steve, there were roughly about 40 miners and their families who came up from Cumberland to join lawyers and attorneys in that courtroom today. We're hoping to get an answer on that first 3 lots of mines. We're told this is going to be a long process, and this could go well into the night, possibly even into tomorrow. I'm in Charleston. Connor James, WYMT Mountain News.
All right, we'll continue to follow it. Connor, thank you. Now, it was early this morning when those Black Jewel miners loaded a bus provided by SOAR and headed to the federal courthouse in Charleston, West Virginia. WYMT's Hannah Reynolds was there when they left Harlan.
Monday morning, more than 40 people loaded a bus to go to the bankruptcy meeting in Charleston, West Virginia, to show their presence while the Black Jewel case was being discussed. At 5 o'clock, miners and their families left for West Virginia with one thought on their mind: being Harlan strong. The miners now have waited more than 1 month for answers, and more importantly, their paychecks to support their families. Those loading the bus said the purpose of going was to show the federal judge some of the faces of those affected by the decisions made in the courtroom.
To give them a face to look at, just so to let them know it's not just a company, it's actual individuals, several individuals, more than one. That'll give them something to look at besides just a piece of paper that's been handed out to them.
The miners I've talked to here on the track say they are thankful that several of the miners went on their behalf as they hold the fort down here in Cumberland. In Harlan County, Hannah Reynolds, WYMT Mountain News.
All right, Hannah, thank you very much. Now, meanwhile, a large gift from the Gilliam Foundation that they are giving $768,000 to local Black Jewel miners. That was announced earlier today, and WYMT's Emily Bennett was there for those announcements in Harlan and Letcher counties. She's now live at the railroad tracks in Cumberland, where those protests began last week. Emily?
Steve, it's a quiet afternoon here on the tracks as many of the miners are at those court hearings, but the ones here tell me how thankful they are. Ross Keegan, an advisor for the Gilliam Foundation, was in Harlan and Letcher counties this morning announcing the gift. $2,000 will go to each miner that signed up for help in their respective counties. Richard Gilliam of Black Mountain Resources knew he wanted to do something for these miners and personally decided on the $2,000 amount. However, the miners have to be in the immediate needs database to collect that money. Harlan County Judge Executive Dan Mosley was emotional at the announcement, thankful that the miners are getting the help they need.
It's kind of one of those too good to be true moments, but it's not too good to be true. It's a reality, and it's one of the most generous things I've ever seen anyone done in my life.
Shock. I mean, this guy has, you know, he previously owned these mines, and he was gracious enough to, you know, take care of them once again when Black Jewel wouldn't step up and do it.
Steve, Mosley says that he got a text after the announcement saying there was cheers of excitement from the miners on the bus on the way to West Virginia. They said they wanted to turn that bus right around. Live in Harlan County, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
Well, that's just been an absolutely gorgeous day here in the mountains. It's been a dry day as well. It's nice to get finally a break from those rain chances. You'll notice as we take a look at a few of those cameras, Interstate 75 over into London. Few clouds here and there, but overall you are seeing those mostly sunny skies. Even looking into the Mountain Parkway, looks like they might be seeing a few more of those clouds as well over into parts of Powell County. But other than that, they have seen those mostly sunny skies throughout the day and definitely those drier conditions. Check it out on satellite and radar. You can see those drier conditions throughout the day. Really not a lot of clouds in the sky. Like I said, just an absolutely gorgeous day. Hopefully you've gotten out to enjoy it. If you haven't yet, you definitely still have time. You'll notice pinpoint Doppler looking at a pretty nice clean sweep. You can see a stray chance just north of Rowan County. We'll keep an eye on that. Could be moving into parts of Rowan County here the next little bit, but all of us definitely remaining on that drier side. Now temperatures, of course, they're a little bit warmer out there. If you're down into the Cumberland Valley, you'll notice those low to mid 80s, but mid to upper 80s looking up into parts of the Big Sandy, showing a 90 in Ashland, 89 in Hazard, and 85 into parts of Jackson. But here's something, check out those dew points. They're actually not that bad. We're into about some spots into the mid 50s if you're looking over into Wise, but those lower 60s actually more in that comfortable range. So really not that muggy as you step out the door. Just a little bit warm out there. That sun definitely hot, but good news is we do see the sunshine continue as we head into your Tuesday. It's not till Tuesday night into your Wednesday that we do see those rain chances start to increase once again. It looks like those scattered chances return and they continue at least for the next little bit. I'll have a look at that full forecast coming up in just a few short minutes. Steve.
All right, Paige, thank you. We now know the name of the man killed in a 3-vehicle crash last night in Rockcastle County. Kentucky State Police say 49-year-old Eric B. Calhoun was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say the crash happened on Interstate 75 near mile marker 68. Calhoun was a passenger in one of the vehicles involved. 2 more people have died following the shooting at a Walmart in El Paso, Texas. Police say 21-year-old Patrick Crucius killed 22 people when he opened fire Saturday. He injured more than 2 dozen. Crucius allegedly posted a racist, anti-immigrant manifesto online just before the shooting. The Walmart where the shooting took place is just minutes from the U.S.-Mexico border. Multiple Mexican nationals were among those killed.
This individual, this hate-filled person, deranged, came from outside of El Paso. I am firmly convinced that this would have never occurred with an El Pasoan.
Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty for Crucius. He allegedly posted his manifesto to a message board called 8chan, which is also linked to at least 2 other mass shootings this year, the New Zealand mosque attack and the California synagogue shooting. A second mass shooting happened in Dayton, Ohio, less than 24 hours after the one in El Paso. Investigators say 24-year-old Connor Betts killed 9 people and injured 27 others, including his own sister. Police responded in less than 1 minute, confronting Betts outside a bar called Ned Pepper's. Police killed Betts, who had more than 250 rounds of ammunition on him. Police said at least 100 people were inside the bar.
If police had not stopped him and he made it into that establishment where hundreds of people were dancing and enjoying, we would have had hundreds of people die.
Betts did not have a criminal record, but people he grew up with say the alleged shooter had a hit list of people he wanted to kill and that he was a troubled teen. President Trump addressed the mass shootings in El Paso and Dayton this morning at the White House. The president says Americans must come together to end these shootings. He also said he was sickened by the racist manifesto the shooter in El Paso used to justify the acts. On Twitter, the president hinted that he may support new background checks, but he did not bring that up during his remarks.
Mental illness and hatred pulls the trigger, not the gun.
The House already passed gun legislation that would require background checks on all gun sales and most gun transfers, but Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell blocked the bill from coming up for a vote. The president also threatened to veto the House-passed law, saying it put undue burdens on gun owners. Nearly 2 years after being attacked by a neighbor, Senator Rand Paul is still recovering. The Kentucky Republican announced he just had surgery after having part of his lung removed over the weekend. Paul expects to be back on the Senate floor in September. In November of 2017, a neighbor attacked the senator over a pile of yard trimmings. Rene Boucher later pleaded guilty to the assault. Paul suffered 6 broken ribs and bruised lungs in the beating. Let's head over to Wall Street now on this Monday afternoon, and not a good start to the week. The Dow closes down more than 767 points. It was down more than 800 a little earlier. It is called the Super Jumper, but officials warn it is dangerous. The U.S. Consumer Product and Safety Commission issued a recall for the Super Jumper 14-foot trampoline. It is also pulling the 14-foot and 16-foot combo trampolines that come with enclosures but do not have reinforcement clamps. The federal agency says the manufacturer has received 97 reports of the legs breaking off. At least 4 people have been injured. People who bought the trampoline should stop using it and contact Super Jumper for a repair kit. The trampolines were sold online on Amazon, Wayfair, Hayneedle, and Overstock's websites. Straight ahead on First at 4, investigators are still trying to determine what caused that deadly gas line explosion last week in Lincoln County.
And those rain chances look to increase a little bit later on your Tuesday night and continue throughout the work week. I'll have those details coming up.